The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
This is part 3. So we have been talking about this challenge-based lifestyle the last 2 episodes, and now we're on part 3. Specifically talking about this journey of me doing my being challenge. And I've spent the last 2 episodes talking about 40 Years of Zen. And again, if you're just listening to this and just catching this for the first time, you may want to go back 2 episodes and just push pause on this and then listen into this from the start of the journey, and it'll make a lot more sense. So as day 4 was starting, I had a massive revelation, and this just kind of happened. And it was one of the biggest revelations I had this entire week. You see, my brain was simply overworking all day long and never actually resting. Like, have you ever felt this way? Have you ever felt like your brain is just working all day long and you never actually get any rest? Even when you go to bed, it's like it doesn't shut off. It doesn't slow down. See, one of the biggest problems with this is it will be havoc on your stress levels, your system, and even just reading your heart rate variability. You see, I've been using this thing called a Whoop for the last couple months. This tracks your heart rate variability. It's spelled WHOOP. And I first got into heart rate variability nearly 12 years ago by a guy named Joel Jameson. And you used to be able to plug it into your phone. You had to put a polar chest strap heart rate monitor on, and it was kind of a pain. Now they have, the Whoop band, the Aura ring. They have all these different ways to measure it. But I found myself for 5 days before this program actually started redlining. Just so you know, if you're in the red, it's not a good thing. It's sort of like stopping at a stoplight, but actually like blowing through it. It's not good. And you're basically limited to very little impact, almost like walking for your workouts if you're in the red. And my recovery had been between 22 and 32, which on a scale of 1 to 100, 100 being the best, you could see that I was performing in about 78% of what is possible. And in fact, most days, my body felt recovered. And I couldn't figure it out because I've back off of my training, but my heart rate variability wasn't changing. And I was getting around optimal sleep. I wasn't sleeping terrible, but the truth was my physical body had been recovering, but my mind was just not shutting off. Have you ever felt this way? Anyone else know what this actually feels like to not have your brain or your mind actually shut off? And finally, after day 2, it was around 50%. And as I woke up this morning on day 4, it was at 93% recovery. And I started to realize this had little to do with my physical body and more to do with my brain. Think about how many times in your life where your brain just will not shut down. It will not turn off. And I'm sure you've noticed this too, but you didn't actually know what was happening. Your brain is working all day long, all night long, and never actually slowing down, never actually recovering. And the pain of your brain not actually slowing down or shutting off, what is this costing you? It's costing you to not be in the present moment, to not live in the present moment, to think, to act, to just constantly be in an animal state where you're reactive. How heavy this is on your mind. Not only your mind, but your body. How much extra weight are we carrying? Do I carry every single day because my mind's not shutting off? How much do the stories, the fears, the judgments, the resentments actually weigh? These things begin to own me, even in relationships. They would own how I would show up every single day. And this all started on day 4. And as day 4 began, at 40 Years of Zen, we began talking about intention and diving deeper into discovering what this actually was and what we wanted for the day. One of the questions that came up in my mind was this: what would happen if I just took the filter off my life? What might be possible if I could just take this filter off? You see, there's been times in my life when I felt like I have been filtered down version of myself. Even today as I speak, it gets a little emotional. You see, my story was other people couldn't handle me. They couldn't handle all of me. And the truth is, could I handle all of me? Could I handle all of me no longer playing safe? Can I really handle this? You see, the path to just taking the filter off is the game of risk. And like the saying goes, without risk, there is no reward. So for the next 2 days, I risked taking the filter off and would eradicate all the stories, all the fears, all the judgments, literally going through every single trauma, event, situation that there was, just to be able to cut the cords and the anchors that were weighing me down. Now, without telling you every single detail of what I went through, the statement I created from these 2 days was this: I will no longer carry the weight of past judgments, not being good enough, feelings of lack, being scared, or playing small. Are you guys getting this? Are you understanding this? Because I know I'm not the only one that has this problem. When I do, this statement is just a reminder to keep the filter off and to continue to be all of me. You see, 40 Years of Zen was an amazing experience. I would rank it into the top 3 things I've done for personal development. You were treated first class the entire time. The facilitators to the employees, all the people that worked there were amazing. The food, like I said, it was a 5-star restaurant. The property, the amenities, everything was elite. And you'll feel at home the minute you walk in the door. And I'm walking out of this with a sense of presence like I've never had. I actually understand what being present means, what living in my heart or living in my head actually means, like I never had before. And I could spend more time going in depth on the experience, but I don't want to give it away, because I think part of these experiences is you actually going to experience for yourself. Now, if you're looking to connect any further into a group of like-minded people, this may actually be your thing. If you want to have a conversation about what this program specifically did, hey, I would love to do this, but this is not the place. All I'm speaking of is from my experience alone. And for the 5 days I spent there, I learned so many things about myself. I learned so many things that I didn't expect to actually learn. And I'm going to continue to work on these for the rest of this year. So guys, I appreciate you being on here. If you want to join myself and other people in the habit-based lifestyle community, I have a habits-based lifestyle secrets group on Facebook where I'll be dropping daily habits that actually help you live to your potential. And if you want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle, you have questions, comments, or requests, feel free to reach out to me, Jesse, at habitbasedlifestyle.com. You can also check out my website, habitbasedlifestyle.com. Thank you for joining me, and I would love to hear from you.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing.